Osinbajo goes missing in Aso Rock. Nigerians have taken to the social media to ask for the whereabouts of the Vice President, Professor M1ЩЩ1ÑД. Osinbajo, who have been at the eyes of storms over his rumored presidential ambition and some allegations against him, has somehow faded away from the public. He regularly featured on media and very active on social media. Very recently, he has gone very quiet, which has now caused many Nigerians to ask that where is Osinbajo? President Muhammadu Buhari months ago removed some of the functions of Osinbajo and reassigned them under social intervention and humanitarian portfolio, which sparked outrage online. There is a section of the public that believes that powerful people in the presidency are working to frustrate Osinbajo. It was also reported at some point that Osinbajo was asked to resign as the vice president, a move that was greeted with outrage from southern leaders, who later issued statements that Osinbajo must not be humiliated out of the office. Osinbajo's sudden quietness cannot be linked to anything until he explains to the public. But below are some of the comments from Nigerians. Of course, everybody has been noticing that this man has not really been, we've not been hearing much about him. Of course, there's no way you can hear much about him because most of the functions that he was handling, most of the portfolios he was handling in their first term, as soon as they enter the second term, they removed all those functions from his office or from him. So how do you expect him to function? When you talk about the trader money, they used him very, very well for that trader money, most especially during the 2019 elections. He was all over the place. And the question I was asking, that as soon as this thing ended, which was February last year, 2019, after the presidential election, that was the end. But a week, 2 weeks, a month to that time, prior to that time, he was all over the place, all over the markets, going from places to places. This issue of this program as well, Empower, the same thing. He was always all the places. He was always everywhere, sharing money, going to different markets, which a lot of people said it was vote buying. But we were like, oh, maybe it's this opposition talk and all of that. But to my greatest surprise, after the presidential election, everything stopped. So the strength the APC or the government himself, the exercise for him to be moving from places to places, sharing that money, as soon as the presidential election was over, that was it. That was the end. Somebody was telling me after that, because I was saying since then we've not been hearing this issue of a trader money. Somebody was saying, no, yeah, he still went to one market. He still went to one market after the election, which I didn't really agree with, because before then it was all over the place. They will televise it, they will bring it online, and a lot of people fell for that because of that 10,000 naira they were sharing. And the question we're asking, how will that add to our GDP? How will that increase our economy? How has it helped the people who collected that money? And people knew quite already that the money, will not be refunded. They were saying, oh, the money, they were borrowing people 10,000 naira money. What is 10,000 naira? 10,000 in the first place that will sustain anybody, no matter how. Is it not the same market? No matter how poor you are, is it not the same market everybody goes to? Is there any market for the poor? No, everybody. Then that is why you see that a lot of people have resorted to begging, to all manner of, things that they are not supposed to be doing. At the end of the day, that thing there's nothing you are going to say. Of course, they will continue to deny it. It was purely vote buying. Since that time till December, why is it that the issue of 10,000 naira, was not a case again? They stopped it. So if he was handling all those programs and they've taken the program or the all those portfolio from him, most especially these other programs like that he was handling, they took it away from him. So how do you expect him to function when this issue of a cabal, became so glaring? He was still denying it, but at some point he said the cabals or the cabal, they were the one, instigating all this issue of FIRS, some money missing, some whatever. But we know that a lot of things do happen in this administration, but they will not be able to prove it. They will not be able to prove it when it comes to the issue of corruption. That accusing somebody, corruption here and there. And again, rumor has it that because of the way he was, acting as the vice president then, okay, as the acting president, a lot of things. And they still came out to tell us that Buhari stopped handing over to him anytime he travels out, which he was doing. Well, somebody stopped all of those. So how do you expect somebody to function? And some people were like, oh, yeah, the president tried. That even the past president, they were not even involving their vice president. They just left them, idle. It's just like a situation whereby, like a spare tire. Even a spare tire yourself, you can, when the rear tire is faulty, you can use a spare tire. But this one is even, I don't think it's really up to even a spare tire in the first place, because at some point when they came in for the second time, the president was saying that the minister must go, even he said, well, they must go through Abakari. They must go through Abakari. And, a lot of things really happened that 2019. So if he does not have anything to do, if he does not have any way he will be sent to go and represent the president or any program, that they are always using him. All of those things, they were just strategies just to deceive people. Oh, they will tell you, oh, Christian, Muslim tickets, not Muslim tickets. Because they know that we are religious, they just use him, to just get what they wanted to get. And now they have gotten what they wanted to get. A lot of people predicted it, said it, that after the second, by the time they come in their second term, that's something, a lot of things will change, that they will stop using this man. Some people say, yeah, let them go and sit down. Let them go and do this and that. Is it not happening? It's been happening. As soon as they just, that May 29, that was when they started this whole drama with the vice president. But some people are like, why will he want to vie for the position of the president? That which is not neither here nor there. TB Frank came, he said all that he has to say. They said they were going to sue him, that he did this, he did that. He was just saying things that are untrue to the vice president. And the vice president said that they were going to sue him, they were going to do this. Up till now, nothing happened. And the guy is saying, why are you people not suing me? I said this, and what I said, I know what I said. So nobody can really take it away from me, because he has his own informant in the presidency. Up till now, they couldn't sue him. But that being said, you don't expect the vice president to be functioning or to be hearing much from him when he has been stripped of all the portfolio he was handling. And when during those trader money, that trader money was really the reigning thing. It was really popular. But as soon as they shifted it to the department or the ministry of humanitarian and whatever disaster, this Sadiq Farouk, has been handling, we don't even hear much about the program, because it was really a strategy from the government, because they knew that, oh, by the time the man goes out, you hope vice president doing this and this and this and that, people really insulted him for even doing that it descended so low. These people, they know how to maneuver or to twist a lot of things, that, oh, that is an act of humility for the vice president professor to be going to the market to be sharing money. That was what they said. But now what is happening? Why are they not sharing the money again? Was it that it was only during election time that the money was really available, so the money is finished now? So people that they are talking about that they really want to help after election, that's the end. We know how all of these things play, but let's wait and hear from him. Of course, after how many days now, he's going to surface. Even his spokesperson, Akonde, will not even be hearing from them again, because unlike before, the man was always tweeting, the spokesperson to the vice president, Akonde. I don't even know the first name, but I know his name is Akonde. He was always tweeting, he was always saying this, oh, the vice president, this, and but we have not even been hearing, from that one for a very, very long time, even before, the disappearance of or the presence of the vice president, in recent times. So very quickly, they're still going to make statements. Oh, it is the work of the mischief maker, but we know how all of this is really play out. So let's hear what people are saying on Twitter before we go to the real people. These ones are on Twitter. We have a different platform that people are really, making their own submission. But these submissions, we are going to be getting them, from the Twitter. Someone says, you are saying Osinbajo has not been around, that maybe he's having a private retreat for the new year. Who knows? Someone says under the carpet of Buhari. Go there, you will get him. That is in Osinbajo in Zahoza room. That means it's in the under room. Someone say he has been missing. I asked that question yesterday, that where is Osinbajo? And someone say, you see, maybe he's in recess. We don't know where he has gone to. Maybe he traveled, or is he sleeping? People are just making fun of the whole thing. Very interesting question. But you should ask Lai Mohammed, where is our VP? Very big question. I have not heard from him for a while now. Which of the Osinbajos are you guys talking about? Somebody say maybe Osinbajo is redundant. Of course, there's no job, nothing to do. Even when the president travels now, he does not even hand over power to him. And the president came out and told us, constitutionally he's not supposed to hand over to him, because there are some certain days that he will not be around, according to what the constitution has stipulated. Between within 21 days, he cannot hand over to him. But if it goes beyond 21 days that he's not going to be around, that is when he can hand over to him. But we know that in the past times, he has been handing over power to him, even when most of the time he used to travel, at times maybe less than 21 days. But because they know what they are doing, and that's why they are just they will not be telling you about a law, they will tell you about constitution, just to justify their actions. But good and fine, let them do whatever they like. If they don't want to hand over power to him, good and fine. But we are seeing the difference, we are seeing what is happening. Just like I said, in a really in a saner environment, you cannot have that kind of a VP. The man is sound. You cannot just take that away from him. The man is very, very, very competent, but very unfortunate. Like we always say, the unqualified are the ones ruling the qualified, and the qualified cannot just get there. Even if they get there, they just render them, useless. They can't even function. They can't even function. That is why the whole thing is just upside down. It's very, very pathetic. Someone say, I guess he's preparing for Edo vote buying, which is the trader money, as an errand boy to General Buhari. If he refuses, Vice President Abba Kyari will humble him within a week. Someone say he's recuperating from a bloody nose by Abba Kyari and the gang. Someone say they saw him last in Imo State. There was a program in Imo State, and that was when the last time this particular person saw him. And someone believes that whatever that happens to him in that government serves him right. A pastor who allowed himself to be used for many dirty job by the Gentiles deserves anything that happens to him later. Someone says he's strategizing. Okay. So guys, what do you really think? Like, in my opinion, I've not really been hearing from him, and I believe that he doesn't really have a much to do again, since most of the programs he was handling, they've been taken away from him. So what do you want him to do? Where do you want him to function? Nowhere. So that's my opinion. But very quickly or very soon, we are going to hear that he is going to make a statement. But we know what has been happening. They would try to deny it, just to make people feel that nothing is happening. But in your opinion, what do you think? Let's hear your own take concerning this. Thank you.